Okay, this is the HL version of the immune system. Standard level students, if you're on this, it's probably because you just want to be even smarter. If you notice that it looks like we're just looking at antibody production and then how that can be used in vaccination. So those are the two main goals, and I need to learn how to underline things. All right. So the first assessment statement simply is a state. It just wants us to be able to remember and say that on our pathogens, specifically on viruses and on bacteria, there are molecules that are unique to that organism. And because they're unique, they can be identified as non-self, right? That's how our immune system works. So if you look at this virus here, I believe this is HIV, you see all these surface proteins on there. It's the same way coronavirus works. And we can make antibodies that specifically attack those surface proteins. What do we call surface proteins on another organism? Antigens. And then bacteria, I mean, they have all sorts of different things. Gram positive, they have these lipids on there. Of course, different types of proteins that are unique to that organism as well. Okay. Let's go to the next assessment statement. So 11.12 wants us to understand that there are certain pathogens that can jump from species to species. And I think we're all aware of the one that we dealt with the last 2 years with coronavirus, which they think came from a fruit bat, but also HIV. This virus, they believe, came from some sort of primate, maybe a chimp. There's fake news out there that says it was from sexual contact. That's not true. It was probably blood interaction. Primates are a form of food in some parts of the world, and they think in preparing the food there was some blood-to-blood contact between the primates and humans. So that's an organism giving us a disease, but we're also guilty. So cats have ulcers that originally occurred in humans. So Heliobacter pylori is a bacteria that gives you ulcers. I don't know if you've heard about this illness where you have an upset stomach all the time, and only until recently in my lifetime, like 30 years ago, they discovered it was simply a bacteria causing this. So they could treat it with antibiotics. Remember, antibiotics only work on bacteria. So they think happened is like back before we were super civilized, a large cat probably was eating us for dinner, and we passed that bacteria on to the cats, and now cats have ulcers. Sorry, cats. This is called, actually, let me just write this down real quick. This ability for diseases to jump from one species to another is called zoonosis. I think that's an important term to remember. You don't need to define it, but I've seen questions where they've asked, like, which is an example of zoonosis, and they want you to understand those are diseases that can cross from one species to another. Let's go to the next slide. I have some examples of ones that are specific only to a specific species. So these poor bats, and we also have diseases that are unique to us also, but there's this fungus that's destroying the bat population in parts of North America. So that would be an example of a disease that is only found in, that only exists in one species. And remember, you don't need to know the examples. You simply just need to remember that you have these two different types of diseases, ones that stay within a species or those that can jump from species to